Welcome back to my little channel. Today I'm going to make a video talking about a subject whilst at the same time trying to talk about the narrative of it all. The subject is going to be obesity, and the narrative is that what we are made to believe, if we are to believe anything at all. This sounds a little bit ominous or weird, so let me try to explain this, and I'm going to do that by example of obesity. Obesity is a problem in the West. People that are obese are overweight. They have too high a body fat accumulating in their body, which causes all sorts of health issues. We know this is a fact, or at least biologically and medically we know this is a fact, and there are a lot of health risks coming from being obese. But saying this kind of breaks down in negative narrative viewing. So this is where reality, obesity, is in conflict with the narrative. The narrative in this case being healthy at all sizes. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not going to tell people when they are obese that they are bad people and that they should do something about this. In all fairness, I am obese. I know there are medical risks attached to me being obese, but I also know that the main reason why I am obese is medical. There are people who are obese because they eat too much, but there are also people who are obese because of the way their body dysfunctions. Now don't get me wrong, I will never say that you're healthy at any size. I am obese, and at the same time I will tell you that being obese is bad for your health. If you can do something about this, you really should. And if you don't, then yeah, you're going to live with health risks and on average a lower amount of health, if you could call it that, or you would live in bad health. Now if I look at myself, I have 3 diagnoses, one of which is clearly the cause of my obesity, and the other 2, well, one of the other 2 might be a direct cause because of the obesity, and one of the 3 is just, well, plain bad luck. The things that do interact with each other though. So, for example, I have sleep apnea. A lot of people thought that sleep apnea is caused by being overweight, but research has proven that being overweight can cause, having sleep apnea can cause being overweight because it fucks up your metabolic system. Now I also have other problems. I have MS. MS can be contributed to a dysfunctional metabolic system. But because of that, I can't really do sports anymore because I can barely walk. Now the 3rd diagnosis I have is asthma. This is nice. This is something I'm born with. I had it before I had sleep apnea. I had it before I had MS. I will probably have it when I die. So these 3 things, asthma might not have to do with any of the 2, but it makes the other 2 worse. Sleep apnea might cause my overweight. Well, it most likely did, because when I was younger, I both sported a lot and I was always thin. And my MS is, well, my metabolic system is pretty much destroyed. So yeah, that could have caused my MS. Unfortunately, there is no way of proving that because the science isn't completely out on that yet. Okay, so here we have the facts. Obesity is bad. Health risks can be caused by obesity. Yada yada blah blah blah. The narrative, however, is healthy at all sizes. You are not to say that being obese creates extra health risks for you, because when you do so, that means that you're fat shaming people. Wait a second, I'm fat. I'm not shaming anyone when I say that being obese is bad for your health. But if you're constantly willing to prove me wrong by saying, no, healthy at all sizes, yay, then please prove it. Well, there are people with overweight that live a very long life, yeah, and I hope to be one of them. But that doesn't mean that obesity isn't bad for my health. It means that I can live a long life. Yeah, sure. But I could have lived a long life without being obese, which would have made things easier. Trust me, I already have certain issues in my life, which I know are directly, hell, not even my health. Even simple things like picking something up from the floor. Being obese kind of makes it harder. Not impossible, fair is fair, but harder. So should we force people that are overweight to lose weight? Well, if it were only that simple. But certain people are overweight because of health issues. So it's not that easy to lose weight. I know it's not for me, and believe me or not, I have tried. I don't want to shame people who are overweight. I do, however, have a problem with the healthy at all sizes narrative of people. What's next? Smoking isn't a health risk because you can get lung cancer from everything, therefore smoking isn't a health risk? Well, no, yeah, you could drink absinthe and alcohol up to copious amounts, but that's not a problem because there are other things that are bad for you as well. So being an alcoholic doesn't have to be a problem because drinking a little bit of alcohol every day is good for you. See, you can bring all narratives into it. Healthy at all sizes is a lie. These people that push this narrative are actually harming our society. Why? Anyway, I know it's a little bit of a rant, and I've been all over the place with this one. Being obese, not good. Healthy at all size, not good, not true. How come we believe the healthy at all sizes narrative? Because it's being pushed. It's being pushed on us, and we have to believe it. It's kind of like how we have to believe that gender dysphoria no longer is a problem, because instead of saying, yeah, gender dysphoria is a problem, we're now saying, no, there are lots of genders. These are not the genders you're looking for. No, this is bullshit. Gender dysphoria is a problem. The narrative be damned. Yeah, but someone being transgender doesn't mean he's bad or she's bad. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it's a problem. I'm not saying the person is a problem. I mean, there is a transgender person online, Blair White. Well, there are plenty of them online, but I know Blair White, or rather, I've seen a lot of work from Blair White. Chimera, that's another one. I actually spoke to him, her. I'm sorry, I'm crap with these things. She goes through a life as a woman now, so I'm going to say her. These are good people. That does not mean that gender dysphoria in itself is not a psychological problem. But having a psychological problem doesn't automatically mean you're a bad person. Why are people constantly trying to push these narratives? Because I'd rather have someone recognized as gender dysphoric and getting help, and even if that means transgender surgery, if that helps them, hey, by all means, it doesn't matter much to me. Then don't try to tell me that I suddenly have to be sexually attracted towards you, because that's bullshit. You'll find a mate or you won't, that's up to you. But you don't shame me into being transphobic. I'm not transphobic, I'm just not interested. Just like I'm not interested in guys. See, if I see a nice guy walking around and he's like, oh, you're just my type, how about we get together? The answer is going to be no. Don't get me wrong, there are plenty of women out there who might come to me and say, oh, you're just my type, how about we get together? The answer is still going to be no, even though they're women. Because, you know what? It's all right to have a preference. You're allowed to have a preference. Well, obviously not if you believe the narrative, because if you don't like trans people, you're transphobic. And if you don't like people of different ethnicities than your own, you're racially biased. So why is it that certain people can have preferences and others can't? Because if it is that simple, you're just basically saying, well, you may think you're gay, but that's just a preference. You should just switch your preference. You're a lesbian. No, you can go with guys. Don't be so male-phobic. See, the thing is, the same narratives that are being pushed on us by, unfortunately, the left, basically are the same narratives we can use to prove them wrong. Well, you're transphobics, you don't like trans people, therefore you should date them. And if you don't, you're transphobic. Okay, so that means that every lesbian out there is male-phobic. Every gay guy is woman-phobic. Every person that only dates within his own ethnicity is ethnic-phobic or discriminatory towards other ethnicities. This is bullshit. Does that, by the way, mean that everyone who doesn't like pizza is pizza-phobic? How far are we going to go with this narrative? I mean, obviously, this means that you're not allowed to have your own preference. Because if you're allowed to have your own preference, this whole story falls down. And I guess this is the end of my little rant. Because everything I wanted to say, I more or less said. Kind of funny how I can start at obesity and end up at transphobic, and it all fits the same narrative. Anyway, criticism as always is more than welcome, and I do hope to see you all next time.